Hey truckers, have you ever been driving down the road and some bonehead truck driver pulls some crazy rookie move and you just think to yourself, man, where did you get your license? Well, if you've ever been on that I-10 lane from LA to Atlanta, you've probably ran into countless drivers that make you wonder where he got his license. In this video, I'm going to share with you a couple articles that I found online that might help us answer a lot of questions about what we're seeing out there and why. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so in this first headline here, this is from CDLlife.com. And I don't know how much I can get away with as far as copyright stuff or whatever, but the headline should be okay. Anyway, this is from CDLlife.com. And California DMV worker admits to handing out CDLs in exchange for bribes. The article talks about this scam, this corruption between CDL school operator and owner, I assume, and a DMV employee going on for at least a year and a half, in which the DMV employee aided struggling CDL students from this one particular school. And it names the school, the gentleman's name. I'm not for sure how to pronounce it, but I will put up I'll put up his name right here. So this article talks about this DMV worker for the period of over a year and a half actually altering test scores when students hadn't even passed the written test. Man, the written test, that's step one. Without that, you can't even get your permit. You can't practice driving the truck. You can't practice skills. You can't do anything. So, yeah, pretty scandalous right there. And over the course of a year and a half plus, how many students did that DMV worker fraudulently issue commercial driver's licenses to? That's the big question. So here's another article, this one by overdrive.com. Overdrive used to be a very popular read for a lot of truck drivers. I'm not for sure how popular their online version is now. But in this article, it talks about the prosecutions of 20 defendants in DMV corruption cases. These are cases involving bribery of DMV employees, CDL test examiners, identification fraud. Drivers getting licenses under bogus names and all that stuff, illegal computer access, stuff like that. You can find the article and read it yourself. I'm not going to put screenshots of it up because I don't want to get in any kind of copyright trouble or whatever. I'm just trying to put some information out there. Anyway, in this article here, it talks about the U.S. Attorney General that was in charge of these cases, said that the scheme put hundreds of unqualified commercial drivers on the highways operating these trucks and trailers, even though the drivers hadn't even passed the necessary tests, the written or the driving tests. They hadn't even passed those tests. But, the DMV employees, they're taking money from these schools and from these these instructors to pass these guys, give them fake driver's licenses, and putting them out on the highways. So, there you go. I could go all day long and talk about different articles, different investigations and cases, potentially involving thousands of scammers thousands of, fraudulent CDL drivers. But it doesn't matter. You can look all that stuff up yourself. The question is, how many are still out there? How many of these drivers are still out there running these trucks and trailers down the road that really don't have legitimate CDL licenses? They're not really qualified to drive this equipment down the road. Is every one of them a bad driver? Probably not. I could teach anyone to become a high-level professional trucker without ever stepping foot into a DMV office. Mastery comes with practice and experience. But how many of those guys that are trucking out there with fraudulent commercial licenses, how many of those unqualified drivers are new in the seat? Yeah, you spend 3 or 4 years getting away with it with a bad license, some scammed driver's license. You're going to learn a lot about operating that equipment, no doubt about it. But how many of them out there don't have that much time in the seat? How many of them don't have that experience and practice that leads to mastery eventually? That's the real question. That's the scary part. You may have, these guys trucking with you out there. They've got a couple weeks experience on a bogus license, man. That is some scary stuff. Scary stuff. The threat is real. So here's the deal. Be smart out there. Be safe. Keep your distance from everyone. Keep your distance from everyone out there. You, with your 3 or 6 months experience, you could very well be the most qualified professional for miles around. How does that sound?